Hello Aquarius, this is your year ahead reading for 2022. Keep in mind, these are general readings, so the messages may or may not resonate. But before we get into the energy of 2022, I want to take a moment to close out the energy of 2021. So I'm going to pull a house card for you to kind of get an idea of what your main focus was, what your main lessons were in 2021. So you're getting the 10th house, which is the house of ambition, responsibility, achievements. Really looking to kind of develop your personal status, how you want to like the legacy that you want to leave in this world, and kind of just working towards in alignment to that vision. So we'll pull a card for what challenged you in 2021 and what supported you in 2021. So here we're getting, for your challenge, King of Cups. And then for what supported you is Knight of Cups, which is really interesting as we look into the court cards. Court cards usually start with the Page, Knight, Queen, and then King. So can sometimes be read as levels of maturity. And so what you may have been struggling with in 2021 was kind of discovering that, or building that emotional maturity within yourself. There may have been things that happened in 2021 that really caused you to be in the energy or operate out of the energy of the wounded inner child. So it made, everything that you experienced in 2021, it was a little bit challenging and difficult for you to see the lessons in it, the opportunity in the obstacle. It was really hard for you to see and understand how these experiences in 2021 was really meant to, the purpose was to kind of bring out this level of emotional stability and maturity that you've been needing or wanting to, whether you were aware of it or not, to want to build. That was actually maybe your higher self's intention for 2021 for you, was to bring this out of you, but it was very challenging for you as you are an air sign. So you're looking at through the lens of more of a rational and logical, and this is by all means not, I'm not saying like your logical choices or your rational choices are necessarily superior because they're coming from the mind, but it's coming, the logic that we have, the rationale that we have is really born on the perspective that we have, if that makes sense. So you were needing to go through this emotional transformation within you to get to a new level of yourself and kind of enrich the knowledge that you have, the wisdom that you have, so that moving forward, the basis of your logic, the basis of your rationale is now different. And so it's really learning how to use emotion to inform you rather than allow emotion to overtake you or control you. So there's a difference between neglecting our emotions and opting to just only be logical and rational, and a difference between, using our emotions to inform us so that we can make rational and logical choices. So we're not meant to neglect our emotions. We're meant to discover a level of emotional maturity where we allow the emotions to inform a holistic view and perspective that allows us to see, to rationale and to create logic that is more whole. Instead of just looking at something from one angle and one aspect, you're now seeing things from multiple angles and from different aspects, and considering other considerations that you thought was trivial because you neglected emotions. So it's really learning how to be a master of that, right? And so that might have been difficult for you because this is a major shift from going into fully mind oriented and then now trying to be heart led, and then marrying the two of those to work in cooperation together. So that was probably the biggest challenge for you, the underlying, as an underlying theme throughout 2021. And what supported you here is the Knight of Cups. Is that the good thing is all of these emotional challenges didn't really happen all at once. They kind of were sprinkled along the way. And so you were allowed to kind of take slow and steady baby steps towards what felt right for you, and learned over time how to kind of honor those emotions. And so in a sense, you're working towards this energy little by little as you head towards the end of 2021. So we're going to move on and pull some cards for what you're working to release in 2021. Let's see what you're working to release in 2021. So we're getting gratitude, courage, and perseverance. So really, what this King of Cups kind of pushed you into realizing is that you truly do have so many blessings in your life that you may not have realized because you were not in an energy of gratitude. So yes, you may have been pushed to the brink several times in 2021, causing you to question a lot of things. But in the end, that push to make you uncomfortable was meant for you to push and break through this mental barrier and into being led by your heart, and into, by practicing gratitude, by seeing the silver lining in things, really changing the way you view your current situation, your circumstances. And through that experience and obstacle came an opportunity for you to exercise your inner strength that you probably didn't know was there this whole time. And that's kind of why it was so difficult for you to shift from the mind and into the heart, because there was probably a belief that entering into the heart or being heart-led was so vulnerable that it would make you weak, right? And so there is a strength in vulnerability that you're now learning to come to understand in honoring your emotions, that now has given you the fuel and the fuel to persevere. It is when we are in cooperation with our emotions, can we find the clarity that we're seeking so that we can enact and take action towards what we're setting out to do. So let's pull another layer of cards here to understand what you're trying to release here from a deeper level. We'll just get 3 more cards to give us another layer of energy here. So we have surrender to your intuition, surrender to play, and surrender to passion. So when we allow ourselves to work with our emotions and honor them, we are then giving ourselves permission to hear our own voice, to hear that inner wisdom we have within, the intuition, right? Because I feel like, for me, I think the way I interpret intuition a bit is that it is a marrying of both logic and emotions, like taking in all that information and operating in resonance to what's aligned with your spirit. And that, to me, is what your intuition is trying to communicate. And so by shifting your approach from learning how to allow your emotions to inform you, you're practicing having conversation with your intuition. You're practicing trusting yourself. And then when it comes to surrender to play, this is kind of a reminder, and I think we talked a little bit about inner child earlier, where maybe when you're having moments where you feel overwhelmed, where you feel like events are unfolding to break you down, know that, you know, life is not all that serious. You can take a break, and it's a moment for you to really take a pause, look within yourself, and ask yourself, your inner child, what does that child need at this moment? What do I need? What, like, you know, learning how to have that relationship with yourself and giving yourself permission to give yourself what you need, right? And if it's to take a break, if you find yourself overthinking, sometimes it's hard to see the joy in life when everything is all serious. And this is a reminder for you that it's okay to take a break and give yourself a moment of joy. Recharge that battery by going into play mode, right? And then that will help you reconnect with your why. Or maybe even discover your why if you haven't already defined it, right? In perseverance, you have surrender to passion. So what pushes us to keep breaking through barriers is when we are grounded and connected to our passion, to our inner fire, to what ignites us, to what feels good. So it's like another form of really learning to communicate and trust ourselves. So when you're in a situation, when you're about to make a choice, when you're in an environment or in a specific circumstance where something just doesn't feel right, you're meant to connect deep within to see how does your body feel about that. Because sometimes if you're so used to listening to your thoughts, you're neglecting how your body feels, what your emotions are trying to tell you. And that's 50% of the information that could be useful in making a wholly complete choice, a fully informed choice. And so really take a moment in times of difficulty and challenge to look within and see what part or what aspects of this situation is calling me to question how I feel. How do I feel? Where do I feel it? What ignites me? What takes out my fire? And take all of that information into account as you begin to make choices from that standpoint, okay? And in that way, you're learning how to live a more intentional, profound life that is in alignment with your inner fire, your spirit, your true version of you within this, avatar of a physical body, right? So Aquarius, I'm going to clear this table and we're going to pull cards now for the energy of 2022. And I'm going to pull a house card for what your main focus will be, what life area will be in main focus for you in 2022. So you get the 12th house. And this is like the last house of all of the astro houses. It's the house of secrets, transcendence, endings, right? Endings for new beginnings. And we'll go ahead and pull a card for what will be supporting you and a card for what will be challenging you. So what will be challenging you in 2022, Aquarius, is the Empress. And what will be supporting you in 2022 is the Knight of Swords. So I feel like this is kind of a overflow of the themes that you started on here in 2021 that is kind of moving into focus again here in 2022, just in a different way. It's really all of the lessons that you've learned in 2021 is now you're being given an opportunity here in 2022 to kind of close out the old so that you could be that new version of you that you want to be. What is challenging you here is with the Empress is the belief in yourself and the continuation of allowing yourself to feel and nurture and be in your body. If you've experienced any kind of trauma, what happens when we when the trauma happens is this creates a disconnect between the mind and the body. And it's sort of part of the defense mechanism of when you're in that moment of experiencing that trauma. And so when we're in that healing phase of trying to reconcile and heal that pain and that trauma that we experienced, it is difficult to, one, regain that trust in ourselves, and two, connect to our body. And so that's kind of where this Empress is going to be. And it feels like everything that you went through in 2021 was in preparation for you to get to this point where you're learning how to do that. You're learning how to reconnect to your body. You're learning how to nurture yourself. You're learning how to honor your emotions. And you're reconciling the trauma that it's associated with. You're really working towards closing a big chapter, a big cycle of your life. And what's supporting you here is that you are feeling intellectually in your mental space, you know that this is what you need. What you struggle with is actually doing it, which is fine. I think the problem is you're trying to rationalize how you're going to do it. You're trying to develop a plan in how to do that, when in reality, you just have to kind of surrender to the process. So use this Knight of Swords as a supportive energy in knowing that you don't have to know all the answers. That just having the intention of seeking out the truth is enough. Right? So you don't need to solve any problems. You don't need to force yourself to fix anything, right? You just need to set the intention of what you want. Set the intention of healing, set the intention to find the truth, set the intention of improving your own inner dialogue and communication with self. And then along the way, you'll get to this point where this Empress energy is no longer going to be a challenge for you. So, Aquarius, if this resonated, there is an extended where we take a deeper look into this energy and explore how it may influence aspects of your life, and we'll also peek into the energy of each month of the year. If you'd like to continue on to the extended, the link to access it is in the description box below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to get notified when new readings are posted. So Aquarius, I am wishing you all the best and a prosperous new year.